Thursday back here for Molière and the Misanthrope. And
I want more money for doing
simultaneous with this, we do actually have a live reading going on of As You Like It at the 53rd Street branch.
Hey.
So
Wow.
this is very exciting. Let's see. Yes, we are live. Welcome. This is the Molière Rendezvous and Instant Shakespeare Company presenting a reading of The Misanthrope by Molière. And Simone Kunrad is the playmaster. So over to you, Simone.
All right, thank you. So The Misanthrope was first performed in June of 1666 at the Théâtre du Palais Royal in Paris by Molière's company, The King's Players. Yet again, Molière satirizes the hypocrisies of French aristocratic society. It followed two of Molière's plays that were banned by the French government, and it wasn't a commercial success in its day, yet lived on, proving otherwise. We will introduce the characters. So, Paula.
I'm Paula Hosa, and I am playing Arsinoe.
Clinton.
I'm Clinton Powell, and I'm playing Arant.
Anna.
I'm Anna Cody. I'm reading Aliante.
Elena.
Hello, I'm Elena Rader, and I'm playing Clitandre.
Derek.
I'm Derek Tarson. I'm playing a cast.
Drew.
I'm Drew Bolander, and I'll be reading Alceste.
Bennett.
Hi, I'm Bennett Palagy, and I'll be Philant.
And Robert. Robert, you're muted.
Oh, sorry, I'm Robert McLaughlin, and I will be reading sequentially Basque, then Agord, then Dubois.
And I'm Simone Kunrad, the playmaster, and I'm going to be reading Célimène. We are in Célimène's apartment in Paris.
What's wrong with you?
I beg you, go away.
Really, what sort of bizarre sort of display?
Leave me. Don't talk. In fact, sir, just stop breathing.
But you haven't heard 2 words, and look, you're seething.
Exact. I want to see. I don't want to hear.
You know, these sudden fits of yours are quite unclear. But though we're such good friends, I'll do without.
Oh, your friend? Me? Oh, that's a line you can cross out. Indeed, I'd always thought you were my friend, but now that I've seen which way you really tend, I tell you, one word flatly, nevermore. My friends' souls aren't corrupted at the core.
Alceste, do you see in me so much to blame?
Oh, please. You ought to die of simple shame. A crime like yours shouldn't act quite so surprised when it leaves all men of honor scandalized. I see you knock a man down with affection, embrace, hug, squeeze him around the middle section. And then you fan the ardor of your heart's gyrations with vows, oaths, offers, private invitations. I ask, who was this acme of mankind? You find his name's quite slipped your mind. He walks away, your fervor's now less hearty. You now recall you met once at some party. My God, an outrage. Show some self-control. You fawn and crawl till you've betrayed your soul. And if I heard myself once play that game, I'd promptly go and hang myself for shame.
I fail to see a capital offense, and I appeal to your benevolence. So please, Your Honor, grant me absolution, or at the least a stay of execution.
Nothing but bad faith and worse jokes from you.
Aye, but really, Alceste, what would you have me do?
I want sincerity. Let no one part with one word that's not spoken from the heart.
A man appears, embraces you with glee. You're quite compelled to pay back equally, to answer as you can his protestations with equal oaths and equal declarations.
No, I can't tolerate it. I reject the vile mode stylish people now affect, and I hate nothing more than the contortions they bend to, dishing out love in such huge proportions. these affable donors of counterfeit embraces, these genial orators whose smiling faces attack the world with their civility, love both good and bad indifferently. Oh, what good are all these useless, flattering phrases of someone who assaults you with his praises, who swears love, faith, devotion till he die, and swears the same to every passerby? No, a soul worth anything is not suited to seek a shred of love so prostituted. And noble souls are made to feel the worse when they're praised along with the wide universe. Distinction should apply when judging worth. It's loving nothing to love all the earth. And since adapting falls so much in your line, adapt to this. You're no friend of mine. I will refuse your vast heart's vast affection until you learn the fine art of selection. I want to be discerned, and to make an end, the friend of humankind is not my friend.
But really, we're on this earth and we have to render a few small courtesies that people tender.
No, I say chastise, lambast, and suppress this shameful commerce of false friendliness. We're men. Instead of this puerile charade, the bottom of our hearts should be displayed. Let that be what speaks, and let our inmost feelings no longer mask themselves with these false dealings.
There are times when to speak plain to everyone would be ridiculous. It's just not done. And if your austere honor only could, to hide what's in your heart is often good. What a propriety. Do you propose to tell one's thoughts to everyone he knows? And when you're with someone who's hard to bear, you tell him that you hate him then and there?
Yes.
Yes? You'd run and tell Emily that she's too old for all her grinning coquetries and that her caked makeup frights all eyes?
Quite.
Dorilus, to him you'd verbalize that not one ear at court's not been set bleeding by his brash chatter of his race and breeding?
Exactly.
You're joking.
No, not a bit. Quite, I warn one and all, the opposite. Mine eyes have been too wounded. All I see at court or in the town enrages me. My moods are black. I'm filled with seething bile to see men interact with the present style. I see nothing but pretense, flattery, lies, complete distortion, gross self-interest, bald deceit. Oh, I can't hold out. I'm furious. And I plan to make a scene and leave the human race of man.
This philosopher's not one of the calm Stoics. I'm laughing at your sudden mad heroics. Remember School for Husbands by Molière? Seems to me that we're just like that pair.
God, spare me your stupid simile.
But really, spare yourself this wild lunacy. The world won't change, though you take every pain, and since you're so in love with speaking plain, I'll speak plain. Your bizarre new malady provides the town with endless hilarity, and your insane need to misanthropize makes you ridiculous in many eyes.
Delightful. That's just what I want to hear. What you've just said is music to mine ear. All men disgust me, and I'd end my days if I found anything in them and me to praise.
You're holding quite a grudge against our race.
Yes, I regard it as loathsomely base.
Is every last poor mortal soul enveloped in this disdain you've suddenly developed? And in our age, is there not anyone?
No exceptions. I loathe everyone. Some for the crimes I see them perpetrating, the rest for being so accommodating and for not feeling vigorous disgust for the first group, as all virtuous true souls must. And the prime recipient of this pretending is my rival in a lawsuit I've been pending. That villain who's built on lies some arcane claim to sue me for all I own, blacken my name, and through this Byzantine juridical trick, seize my whole estate and brand me heretic. Through his thin mask, no, not one man disagrees. There's nothing plainer than his treacheries. His sweet voice and that face grimacing up and down fool no one who's not brand new to this town. It's known he merits our worst refutations. He's raised himself by filthy machinations, and that his present fortune's upward rush makes merit grumble and it makes virtue blush. He's pure trash. On this point, all men agree, but they act blind to what they know him to be. Call him a knave, impostor, worthless cheat. None contradicts, agreement is complete. Still, he's allowed to grab by influence what others should have won by excellence. My God, it wounds me mortally how nice the world can act when it confronts pure vice. Show me some desert. I will gladly defect to where humankind and I will not intersect.
Come now, could we have less volcanity and more forgiveness for humanity? Let's render final judgment somewhat less and see its faults with some small tenderness. In our world, purity must be, well, pliable. The old strict virtue is no longer viable. Truth shuns extremes, and by extrapolation, you should be virtuous too, in moderation. That stern ancient code that you'd reintroduce is much too harsh to be of present use. Why, it asks poor mortals to achieve perfection. You really should bend in the present day's direction. It's utter madness, sheer insanity, to think you can reform humanity. I see, like you, 100 things each day that should have rightly gone another way, and it makes me just as mad as it makes you, but you'll never see me act the way you do. I take the human race as it was made, accept the human game the way it's played, and I maintain that my phlegmatic style is just as philosophical as your bile.
Oh, and nothing this cool phlegm of yours might see could raise its temperature by 1 degree. A friend betrayed you, or a man were known to raise a false suit to take all you own, and reviled your name with wild slanderous noise, would these crimes not disturb your equipoise?
I think the ills about which you complain indigenous to our human terrain. And I'm no more disturbed, as you have said, that men are base, corrupt, self-interested, than that orangutans tease, or that wolves bay, or that hungry vultures search over their dying prey.
I to be teased, chased, bitten, torn in two without, I shouldn't even talk to you. Well, what you've just said is pure offensiveness.
Indeed, you would do well to talk much less. I think you should rant less against your rival and give some thought to your legal survival.
I'll give nothing. I'll leave it to the laws.
Ha! I see. Well, then who's going to plead your cause?
Who? Reason, justice, fairness, right, that's who.
And no judge will receive a call from you?
No. In this lawsuit, am I in the wrong?
I quite agree, but influence is strong, and...
No, my little finger won't move one bit. I'm either right or wrong.
Don't count on it.
I won't budge.
You'll see your opponent thwart justice with his cabal of...
We'll see it in court.
You're wrong.
Fine. I sincerely hope you're right.
But...
I'll be overjoyed to lose this fight.
Oh, come now.
I'll see in this litigation if men of this sick present generation are twisted and perverse enough to do me this much wrong in the wide world's plain view.
What a man.
I want, however great the cost, for the sheer beauty of it to have lost.
Alceste, some people might well laugh if they could overhear you going on this way.
Oh, may they die laughing.
But this rectitude that you maintain with such exactitude, this harsh austerity you're so proud of, do you claim to see it in the one you love? I'm really quite shocked, since it seems to me that you've declared war on all humanity, that despite the human faults you so despise, one of our race has somehow charmed your eyes. And I was still more shocked when I found out the object of your strange heart is mad about. Eliante's sincere and has an eye for you. Arsinoe is virtuous, she likes you too. But no, you spurn their sincere vows and then are bafflingly amused by Célimène, whose backbiting wit and toying coquetry embody all you loathe, it seems to me. And I'm amazed that you can tolerate her in her the qualities you claim to hate. In the one you love, faults aren't faults suddenly? Do you forgive them or manage not to see?
No. I love the young widow tooth and nail, but know her flaws. on an all too intimate scale. Gladly point them out. Nonetheless, try though I may, it's hopeless. I confess. I'm helpless, weak. You see, she has an art of making herself pleasing to the heart. And though her failings glare, cry out, stand tall, she makes herself loved. Her grace conquers all. And soon my ardent passion will no doubt root all her stylish modern vices out.
If you do that, you'll have done a great deal. But does she love you?
Yes. I wouldn't feel this way if she did not love me equally.
Oh, of course. And if her love's so plain to see, why do your rivals cause you such distress?
Stricken hearts tend toward strict possessiveness. And here today, I will not be deterred from on just that theme making my thoughts heard.
For me, if my heart were to choose a prize, Eliant, her cousin, would have all my size. She's nice, she likes you, and if I may say, you'd do much better if you'd look her way.
Yes, reason says so each day loud and clear. Nay, shouts, but my heart somehow won't hear.
Oh. Your heart's well-being worries me, and this fervent hopefulness of yours, it seems...
I've just learned from the servant that Eliant and Celamine went out shopping, but learning you were hereabout, I leapt at this long-awaited chance to say that my respect for you grows every day, and that I thought the time would never end when I could merely hope to be your friend. My heart rewards worth. It's long overdue that bonds of friendship should untie us two, and such a friend as me, warm, well-connected, is not a friend who's easily rejected. I am, if you don't mind, addressing you.
Who, me?
Yes, you. Am I distressing you?
No, but the shock is overpowering. I didn't expect this praise you are showering.
You shouldn't be surprised by what I say. The continent, sir, sees you in the same way.
Sir.
You outshine our highest ministers, and I'm not alone. The universe concurs.
Sir.
For my part, I feel more admiration for you than for any man in the nation.
Sir.
Lest you remain doubtful, may the sky fall here and now and crush me if I lie. Let me embrace you with an open heart and ask of your warm friendship. One small part. Your hand, sir. Here. Let's promise evermore to be friends.
Sir.
What are you waiting for?
Sir, your offer is a huge honor to me, but friendship needs a bit more mystery. And surely it's a kind of profanation to toss the word throughout the population. Sir, friendship thrives on choice. Before we smother ourselves kissing, let's get to know each other. Who knows, our personalities might be such that we'd soon flee each other's friendly clutch.
Now that's a wise man. You cut to the core of things, and I respect you even more. Let's let time form a friendship that endures. But in the meantime, I'm entirely yours. If there's something the palace ought to hear, it's well known that I have the royal ear. There's not one thing in all this time that I have asked for that the king's chosen to deny. In any case, whatever you ask of it, my soul will do. And since you've shown such wit, to start our friendship off on the right note, I'll share with you the sonnet I just wrote to find out if it's fit for publication.
Sir, I'm unfit to make that recommendation. Spare me the honor.
Why?
It is my flaw to be sincere, and people find me raw.
That's just what I want. My sole complaint would be precisely if you showed restraint. If you dissembled, sir, I'd feel betrayed.
Well, then let's hear this work of art you've made.
Sonnet, it is one. Hope. But first, these lines are to a girl who's given me certain signs. Hope. Don't expect heroic flights. I'm prone to a more tender, sentimental tone.
We'll see.
Hope. I'm not quite sure if my style or voice, if you will strike you as worthwhile, or if my choice of words may seem cliche.
We'll soon find out.
And also, I should say, I spent less than a quarter hour on it.
That's moot. Get on with it. Let's hear your sonnet.
Hope keeps at bay our worst chagrins, but hope and sadness are at war. And Phyllis, desperate sadness wins when one has hope and nothing more.
I'm already delighted. That's not bad.
What? This is trash. My God, have you gone mad?
Your affable civility first gives one hope, then hope it steals, for hearts lose their tranquility when nothing follows on hope's heels.
No, that's nice. That's nice. It's unpretentious and yet gallant.
What? Flatterer. You say this fool's got talent?
If an eternal waiting game sends to despair my ardent flame, I'll seek in death to right this wrong and won't be swayed from my distress. For Phyllis, utter hopelessness comes when one hopes, but hopes too long.
The ending falls quite nicely. It's delightful.
Falls nicely? God, what's wrong with you? It's frightful. You may soon fall nicely and break your face.
I've never heard a poem of such grace.
Oh, dear God.
You're flattering me, and often men...
I'm not.
Traitor, what are you doing then?
But now, sir, you promised to reveal your true opinion. Don't forget our deal.
Sir, these matters are quite delicate. Most people like to be praised for their wit. I had a friend whose name we shall not note, to whom when I read some lines that he wrote, I said, "Great men must brace themselves to fight that prickly itch that makes men seethe to write. And one needs utmost self-control when smitten with the urges to read trifles one may have written, and that such urges, unrestrained, just may cast us in roles no man would want to play."
Are you trying to say I should combat the urge to write?
No, I'm not saying that. But I told my friend, bad writing can maim a man's otherwise quite stainless good name. And that despite countless good qualities, it's these small defects our cruel, harsh world sees.
Are you implying I ought to abstain?
No, I'm not saying that, but I made plain to my friend, this mad thirst to wield a pen has ruined many great and noble men.
Are you saying I'm like them, self-deluded?
No, I'm not saying that. I then concluded by asking if this weren't some intimation of ill health. My God, who needs publication? One might perhaps be able to forgive those poor souls who have to write to live. But for the rest of us, take my advice, hide from the world your secret inky vice. And don't, for all you've worked for, cut short the good name you've made for yourself at court. And let some would-be Gutenberg instead hang the sign of worthless author around your head. This is what I tried to tell my friend.
All very well. I'm sure I comprehend. But my poem, sir, I still have yet to glean.
Your sonnet, sir, belongs in the latrine. You've fashioned it after some quite pernicious models, and your style is grossly factitious. What do you call this? Desperate sadness wins? Oh, and what's this? Keeps at bay all your worst chagrins. And what's first gives one hope, then hope it steals? Or this, when nothing follows on hope's heels? This quaint style which is our modern affliction, at odds with any sense of natural diction, is nothing but wordplay, pure affliction that kills all natural art by suffocation. The vile taste of our times makes me afraid. Our vulgar forebears are far better made, and I'm less moved by that which our whole age might write than by this old song, which now I will recite. If the good king were to decide to give me his proud Paris town, and if I had to leave his side of only one true love of mine, I would say to King Henry, Paris I will never see. I'll stay with my own true love. Oh, I'll stay with my own true love. The style's old, yes, the rhyme's uncomplicated, but don't you see by this how overrated are all today's assaults on literature? And that something in this song is real and pure? If the good King Henry were to decide to give me his town, his proud Paris town, and if I had to leave the side of the only true love of mine, I'd say to King Henry, Paris I'll never see. I'll stay with my own true love. Oh, I'll stay with my own true love. This is the voice of pure and tender passion. Go on, laugh, sir. I say, despite the fashion, that dusty song outshines the gilded slime that passes for great verse in our sick time.
And I maintain my poem's very good.
You wrote it, sir. I'm not surprised you should. But you must understand that my opinion does not fall under your brilliant dominion.
Others have praised my knack for versifying.
Because they have a knack I lack for lying.
Oh, now your wit is suddenly unmatched.
I'd need far more wit to praise what your quills scratched.
I'll live without your praise, dear sir. Don't doubt it.
You have no choice, sir, but to live without it.
You know, sir, just to see, I'd love for you to write a poem and see how you would do.
I would, alas, write one as bad, worse, but I wouldn't read it aloud to the universe.
You're speaking firmly, sir. I find that quite...
Speak elsewhere, sir, if you should wish to fight.
But little, sir, come down a peg or two.
Big sir thinks. I'll decide what I do.
Hey, gentlemen, no need to go insane.
I'm doubtless wrong and cede you this terrain. I am your servant, sir. Adieu. God save!
And I live, sir, to be your abject slave.
Well, there you see. Your overcandidness has landed you in quite a nasty mess. Or it wasn't difficult to see.
Don't speak.
But
I want no more company.
But really.
Leave me. Not one more word.
What?
I said be quiet.
But.
Bill?
You're absurd.
My God, get off my heels. Away with you.
Don't be ridiculous. I'm coming too.
Madam, would you mind if I were frank with you? I'm disgusted by the things I see you do. My heart fills up with bile, and presently we two may altogether part company. I won't pretend, I won't do you that wrong. You and I may well fall out before too long. And if I were to tell you otherwise, I would, I hate to say, be telling lies.
I see. You fondly, tenderly invite me inside alone just so you can indict me.
No, but your manner seems to signify an equal chance for all who wander by. This swarm of lovers you accommodate are obsessed by. I can't tolerate.
Am I to blame? Did I twist someone's arm? Can I prevent them from noticing some charm? And if they're moved to visit me, no doubt I should pick up a stick and drive them out?
No, madam, what's needed is not blood be spilled, but that when wooed, you seem somewhat less thrilled. And though no one can't control charm, you receive those charmed by you such that they'll never leave. And once they're smitten, your doted devotion finishes off what your charm set in motion. It's the giddy hope you seem to be presenting that makes their giddier zeal so unrelenting. And if your heart were seen somewhat less to throb, you'd soon be rid of this huge wooing mob. But this last conquest, madam, tell me, do, by what strange fate Clitandre appeals to you? By what standards of merit you deem his sublime virtue worthy of your esteem? No doubt your ardor owes much to the scale of his superbly lengthy pinky nail. Or is it more justly attributed to that blonde mass that rides upon his head? Or the brilliance of those powder kegs he calls pants, or his 1,000-ribbon legs? Was it his stockings, genius, that first gave you shivers, or the way he fawns like a crawling slave? Is it his brave falsetto you adore, or his shrill laugh that thrills you to your very core?
It's quite unfair, you know, for you to berate him. Aren't you aware I only tolerate him because he's offered contracts to support me in the lawsuit I have pending in court?
So lose your suit. That's not so terrible. His little presence here is unbearable.
Your jealousy now has become worldwide.
Because the wide world's welcome at your side.
A sane man would be comforted to see my care distributed so evenly. And there'd be far more cause for apprehension if one rival received all my attention.
But if these rivals are no threat, pray tell, what do I have that they don't have as well?
The joy of knowing that your love's returned.
And by what signs, pray, is that love discerned?
I've said so. You don't need to be omniscient to grasp plain language. Isn't that sufficient?
Indeed, but what's to stop me wondering if you don't tell all the comers these same things?
You know, it's nice to know that gallantry isn't dead. You woo with such delicacy. Well, to keep those fierce doubts of yours at bay, everything I've said, I hereby unsay. You've deceived yourself quite exquisitely. There.
Oh God, why do I love you? Answer me. The day my heart's freed from your clutch, I'll bless the skies for that rare shred of happiness. Make no secret, I'd give all I got to break this twisted, horrifying knot, but all my efforts have not rid me of you. And it's for my sins that I'm condemned to love you.
Yes, you love me. What fool could fail to see?
Yes, I defy the world to equal me. My love cannot be conceived. And yes, it's true. No man lives who loves you the way I do.
Yes, your method indeed does seem unique. The girl you love, you shower with harsh critique. You hurl sharp words. You lecture, scold, berate. I've never seen love look so much like hate.
It only springs from pain, which you could mend. We're arguing. Let's stop. Let's put an end to pointless difference, and let's begin.
Yes, please.
Acosta is here.
Well, send him in.
What? Can't one have one moment of reprieve from your insane obsession to receive? Can't you resolve to be, for just 1 minute, in your house without countless suitors in it?
You want me to make an enemy, no doubt.
Madam, you've traits I'd gladly live without.
He'd definitely write me off if he knew how much his mere sight repulses me.
If he revolts you so, why do you care?
He's just the kind of man you must beware. I don't know how, but quarrelers of his sort worm into this inner sanctum of the court, spreading spite, foul rumors and imbroglios. And no, they're not good friends, but they're much worse foes. They're mean and their friends have clout. Hence the moral, don't fight with well-placed men who like to quarrel.
I see. Though reason shouts out otherwise, you'll find some twisted way to rationalize receiving the world. Please, your mind's out of joint.
Madam, Clitandre is here.
A case in point.
Where are you off to?
I'm leaving.
Stay.
Why?
Stay.
I can't.
I want you to.
No, goodbye. It's far too much to ask. You're quite aware I find these chats impossible to bear.
I want you to. I want you to stay.
No.
Well, there's no law against it. Fine, then go.
My cousin, those two marquis are just downstairs. Did you know they were?
Yes, cousin, thank you. Chairs? You're not gone yet.
Madam, it's my design to see which side your soul's on, theirs or mine.
The things you say.
You'll make your declaration.
You've lost your mind.
No more equivocation.
Oh,
You'll take sides.
you're joking. Very sly.
Nope, you'll choose. My patience has run dry.
My friends, I just left the palace where Cleante acted the total fool. I wonder, won't some kind friend tell him, sparing him the shock of finding out himself he's a laughingstock?
It's true. He's thrilled you always notice him first, but that's because he's bizarre. The poor man's cursed. And when next you meet him, after some time has passed, he's always still more bizarre this time than last.
Friend, speaking of eccentricity, I've just borne the sad infelicity of hearing for an hour the sun on high, Damon, that pedant rant. I thought I'd die.
He's quite a talker. He's got such a way of making nothing take all day to say. All those ergos, notwithstandings, and therefores makes him the reigning prince of unearthly bores. And he thinks the face you're making shows rapt suspense, when it's because the creature makes no sense.
She's off to a good start, and have no fear. What you've just heard's nothing to what you'll hear.
Madam, if you will, your thoughts about Timon.
A shadowy figure indeed, who seems to want dark mysteries in all things. He looks sidelong, peers, points, recoils. You ask him if something's wrong. He answers with secret grimaces so rife with innuendo you fear for your life. And his eyes take on that glow. He looks both ways. And he tells you secrets the whole town's known for days. Or else he beckons you aside, you go. And then he whispers furtively, hello.
And Madame Gerald?
I wish you weren't preen. He thinks we peasants haven't ever seen a counter-duke, and someone should convince him he's not the first one e'er to meet the prince. Nobility obsesses him, and he founds his monstrous huge conceit on hunting hounds, horns, horses, and he thinks we don't know he's been hunting once, and several years ago.
Belize is more in love with him than ever.
Ah, yes. That poor dear, she never was too clever. When she calls here, I suffer martyrdom. Try though one may with her, words just won't come. And her dim, blank, sterile, vacuous expression kills any mild, humorous digression. Her dull stupidity simply won't budge. However hard you vainly try to nudge her brain along with some common interest, like rain or sun. Oh, please. She's the worst of guests. And though 1 minute with her is hard to bear, she stays for hours. I want to tear my hair. You ask the time, yawn. Any insect could grasp these signs. She sits there like a block of wood.
Let's hear a drast.
What baseless pride. Oh, stop. The man's so filled with self-love, he might pop. He spends his time complaining. On this earth, some fail to see his valiant worth. And each time, which is always, he's denied a royal grant, we hear the court decried.
Young Cleon, whose home filled to the brim with all our brightest people, what of him?
That it's his food they find so riveting. His cook's the one others guests are visiting.
The cuisine is exquisite, I've heard tell.
If just the tasteless host weren't served as well. A wretched dish like him sours the repast. Fatuity to my taste curdles fast.
Damas, his uncle's said to have a fine wit. What's your thought, madam?
He's a friend of mine.
I find him very witty. I'm always curious.
But he works so hard at it. He makes me furious. His wit's belabored. Each morsel is hewn so strenuously, he'll rupture himself soon. And now that he's succumbed to the thought he's a great wit, no book to his mind is quite adequate. He thinks to criticize shows faultless taste. All praise by definition is misplaced. True brilliance, clearest sign is indignation. Just idiots and dolts feel admiration. And that to call all present writing slime makes you the reigning genius of all time. He won't even take part in conversation. Oh no, that's far beneath his lofty station. And from on high, his two arms crossed this way, he hears with pity what we mere mortals say.
God strike me dead, that's him down to a T.
I'm dazzled. You paint people perfectly.
All right, enough. That's it. My courtly friends, no one is spared. Your tattle never ends. Nevertheless, were any of them here, you'd rush at them, every pore exuding cheer, extend your hand, smile, grimace, just like this, then prove you're their friend with a tender kiss.
Slow down, sir. If what's been said's wounded you, it's our dear hostess you should be speaking to.
Oh, it's your flattery and perniciousness that draw out of her soul this viciousness. The small satiric sense she had before grows, nourished by your flattery each day more. And her heart might beat less acerbically if it weren't fanned by this giggling conspiracy. Which is why when humanity is shamed by vice, these flatterers it's these flatterers who should be blamed.
I didn't hear much for you to deplore. You hate them and they hate. You hate them more.
What? Ask His Highness not to disagree, to condescend to join humanity, not to rant, rave, explode, rail, squawk, to scorn the contrariness with which he was born. No. Other people's opinions hurt his pride. He'll always take quite the opposing side. He thinks the surest way of commonness is to let pass your lips the one word yes. His joy in contradiction is so great that I've seen thee quite abruptly hate the very thoughts he was just championing if someone else should dare to say the same thing.
The gigglers love you.
The gigglers love you, madam. They're in paroxysm. I see no one safe from your cruel witticisms.
But really, Alceste, you have to admit your mind is, shall we say, vituperously inclined. And you can't tell me you yourself don't see that praise or blame, you always disagree.
That's just because our race is always wrong. An outrage is in season all year long. And I see those vain praises gross pretenses, and that thoughtless blames ugly consequences.
But,
madam, if I die making it known, you play games that my soul cannot condone, and I find it completely inexplicable. These men smile, feeding crimes that are despicable.
Till now, to me, our hostess had seemed free of such egregious defects as you see.
I find her stunning, sirs. And I'm not blind, but defects? The thought never crossed my mind.
I see her in much that could tantalize, but her defects, sir, don't leap out to my eyes.
Oh, they leap out at mine, and unlike you, I won't encourage them the way you do. The more one loves, the less one ought to flatter. True love is sometimes an explosive matter, and such a burst of my true inmost feeling would send all of these sniveling suitors reeling, whose mincing urbanity and elegance would ill meet with my ire's extravagance.
if all hearts were to conform to your excesses, we'd soon be rid of all tender caresses, and love would be said to obtain a sublime complexion when one lambasts his object of affection.
That rule of love's something I've yet to see. All lovers see their loves as defect-free. Their power of judgment's totally inactive, and in their loved one, everything's attractive. In fact, lovers most love their love's most frightful aspects, and talk as if they were delightful. The pasty white girl has a jasmine face, the sunburned crisp, a fresh outdoorsy grace. The spindly sprig is like a dainty dove. The fat one, well, there's that much more to love. The one who spills and drools at every meal has an untamed, free, earthy, wild appeal. The Amazon, of course, is statuesque. The dwarf looks charming, standing at her desk. The snob has the proud heart of royalty. The sneak has brains, the moron, loyalty. The blabberer is gay, and if she's called shy and kind, can be certain she's deaf, dumb, and blind. That's how most lovers think. It gives one pause. They love their loves precisely for their flaws.
As far as I'm concerned, that's the absolute
Oh,
truth.
thank you to control yourself. I'd like some air. Let's take a stroll. What, going, gentlemen?
No, not yet.
I see if they left you, you'd be most upset. Sirs, anytime you like, feel free to go. But I will not leave first, just so you know.
No urgent interview calls me away, and pleasing our hostess, I'm here all day.
If I'm at court, well, by tonight, let's say, nothing prevents me from a good long stay.
I think you're amusing.
Madam, we'll soon see just whom you'd like to leave, them or me.
Sir, someone's here requested me to say he must see you without the least delay.
Tell him no business presses me that much.
His jacket's planted, sir, and gilded, such as royal marshals wear.
Oh, you'd best go see or show him in.
Sir, what's the emergency? Out with it.
Sir, a moment of your time.
Sir, moment of your time.
You can speak, sir. No need for pantomime.
I lead the marshals, sir. We resolve, as you well know, sir, matters that involve the honor of men of rank, sir. I request your presence, sir. Now, sir, you're under arrest, sir.
Who, me, sir?
Yourself.
This is quite obscure.
It's your absurd fight with Orant, I'm sure.
What's that?
They clashed, and mortal oaths were taken. Alceste felt Orant's sonnet, muse forsaken. Clearly Orant wants to resolve the matter.
Despite this stag, I will not lie or flatter.
But really, rule of law, I'm sure there's room for compromise.
How so? Do you presume some horde of elks can make me suddenly adore a poem that's trash? I disagree. I don't withdraw one word. It's a clear fact, the sonnet's wretched.
A small bit of tact.
His poem's garbage. That's my last position.
Bravo. Now it's time for an intermission. Come on, let's go.
All right, I'll go. I won't recant, however.
Let's go see Orant.
Unless I'm stopped by the king's own decree, though herds of these reindeer stampede on me, I'll say that poem reeks and won't flinch to add a man should hang for writing verses that bad. And again, sirs, I wasn't aware of being so funny.
Really go take care of this.
Yes, I'll follow this caribou, but I'll be right back. I'm not through with you.
My dear Marquis, you're looking spry today. You have no cares, you're acting mighty gay. But really, what cause, barring self-delusion, could warrant this insanely cheery effusion?
When I survey myself, nothing I see makes me think I should feel bad, dear Marquis. I'm rich, I'm young, I don't mind telling you, the blood coursing through my veins is awfully blue. You'll find there are very few affairs of state in which my family and rank won't carry weight. And as for heart, the most precious quality, I don't brag. It's well known, that's my specialty. I recently was challenged and I behaved most dashingly and boldly. The town raved. I've sharp wit, good taste, and the mystique of never having to think before I speak. I rush out to see every latest show and sit where everyone can see. I know when to see move, smile knowingly, laugh, look awed, and I know when precisely to applaud. I have calves which other men merely dream, and what's more, my teeth positively gleam. As far as fashion, will you see before, what I'm wearing now, need I say more? The king adores me. I'm genial, debonair, liked by the strong sex and loved by the fair. I think in light of this, dear Marquis, a man's not wrong to greet life cheerfully.
Quite, but being such a love celebrity, why do you mope and sigh here uselessly?
What do you take me for? I'm not so silly as to put up with women acting chilly. I'll grant if you're dull, ugly, and in debt, since nothing recommends you, it's your best bet to fawn at beauty's feet for years, still hoping by tears and sighs and endless dronish moping, and dog-faced looks and maudlin poetry to earn one kind glance by sheer tenacity. But men of my kind, dear Marquis, aren't made to love on credit and not to be paid. Though girls inflate their value past the sky, they're worth no greater price, thank God, than I. Some debts incurred by being loved by me, love something that should be spent equally. Account should balance. When a man like me offers his love, she too must open her coffer.
Really think, Marquis, you're well received?
The signs, Marquis, that that's to be believed.
My friend, strike this gross error from your mind. It's just egregious self-deceit. You're blind.
True, I'm blind, thanks, you spared me endless grief.
But whatever spawned in you such a mad belief?
I'm blind.
Have you had signs of preference?
I'm self-deceived.
You have evidence.
I tell you, I'm deceived.
Has Suleiman given you some secret vow? If so, when?
No, I'm just flattering myself.
Answer me.
She hates me.
Fine. You've proved your drollery. Now, out with it. What grounds of hope for have you had?
I'm abject, and it's you who should feel glad. I'm met here with rebuff and cruelty, and soon I'll hang myself. Find me a tree.
All right, Marquis. You put on quite an act. But to settle our accounts, how about a pact? That if one of us can prove with certainty that Suleiman greets him amorously, the other one will promptly cease to strive and give the first one's suit some room to thrive.
I'm thrilled to hear you speak this way, Marquis, and all my noblest sentiments agree. But shh.
Still here?
Love's here. How could we go?
I heard a carriage just now down below. Whose is it?
I have no...
Madame Arsinoe.
Oh, why does that thing drop in unmasked this way?
She's chatting downstairs with Eliante.
Oh, God, what could that wretched woman want?
She's so pious, she'll soon be up for canonization. I've heard, and...
Ah, yes, bald prevarication. She's worldly as they come. It's all a mask. Her only goal's to snare men. Quite a task in her case. So she looks on, turning green, while men woo someone else and cries, obscene. And all this prudery's just a ploy to vindicate that charmless solitude that's her just fate. Her paltry charms, being lost on humankind, cry out that her sick degenerate age is blind, and to salvage what small shred of dignity she calls what she herself craves, vile debauchery. Make no mistake, she wants a man. What's more, Alceste, no less, is the one she's desperate for. He's often here, which roast her pride alive, and she wants to hold the inset belief that I've stolen him. Her shrill spite, which she barely hides, spits slanders at me daily from all sides. In short, she's worthless, stupid, mean, vile, crude, impertinent, vicious, arrogant, beastly, rude, and... Ah, my friend, what serendipity brings you here? I've missed you so frightfully.
I feel I owe you certain information.
I'm thrilled you're here. No need for explanation.
Oh, they've left. Good riddance. That's most fortunate.
Shall we sit down?
I didn't come to sit. Madam, friendship's fire should radiate more, not less, in matters of the greatest weightiness. And since nothing's weightier, I know you'll agree, than honor, virtue, and propriety. I've come, knowing you feel just as I do about these things, to show my love for you. Last night, my hosts, whose good name bears no doubt, and I were talking, and as things turned out, they spoke of you. Alas, your stunning ways endured the fate of not incurring praise. This swarming mob of lovers you endure, your pride in being the whole town's paramour, was censured, criticized, lambasted. My dear, I heard things I found difficult to hear. Imagine how I felt. I was mortified. I leapt to your defense. Well, at least I tried. I said your ripening youth sometimes holds sway, but that you always mean well anyway. But there are things that, you know as well as I, can't be excused, however one may try. And I found myself compelled to go along with that. Your airy style does somewhat do you wrong, that it turns an ugly face to the world's eyes, that it forces awkward stories to arise, and that with some small effort, even you could less shock the world by everything you do. Not that I think you've done anything obscene. No. Heaven forbid. The very thought's unclean. But many would believe, untrue or true, you must seem chaste. Merely being chaste just won't do. Madam, I know you're not mean-spirited enough to take offense at what I've said, or to infer any motive less benign than that I feel your interests to be mine.
Madam, there's no offense. I'm in your debt. Your friendship radiates so mere etiquette insists on no less warm responses do. So I'll let my love radiate right back at you. And since you've shown the way so amicably as to confide all you've heard said of me, I'll follow you down that same avenue and let you know what people say of you. The other day I found myself somewhere, and there were very worthy people there, discussing souls who's virtuous and sincere, and soon, of course, they came to you, my dear. Alas, your prudery and frantic devotion failed to inspire a positive emotion. Your affected air of grave sobriety, your austere standards of propriety, the way you twist innocent words to connote some dark double meaning, however remote, the way the height of your pride scrapes the skies, that pitying look you've etched into your eyes, your frequent sermons, your endless interfering in harmless fun, your constant puppeteering, these traits, to make friendship's radiance complete, were trounced in terms I'd rather not repeat. What's good's that pious facade when she's unmasked by her old grisly sordid life? They asked. She knows her prayers and kneels in the streets to say them, but beats her servants bloody and won't pay them. Each chapel knows her usual well-worn perch, but she wears enough makeup to paint the church. She's shocked by paintings of men depicted nude, but with the real thing, she's not quite such a prude. Of course, I leapt at the first chance I could find to say I wouldn't hear my friend maligned. But they held firm to their positions still. They felt quite strongly that it's best until one is a saint to be somewhat less prone to tinker in others' lives and rather fix one's own. That one must engage in long, hard introspection before one can take on mankind's correction. And that when one may wish to sermonize, one should first oneself become blameless in heaven's eyes. Or still better, one should urge needy souls to ask help from the church, to whom God gave that task. Madam, I know you're not mean-spirited enough to take offense at what I've said, or to infer any motive less benign than I feel your interest to be mine.
These eyes have seen much, but did not foresee quite such a vicious scrap of repartee. But in your answer's tartness, I can read how much my kind words made your proud heart bleed.
Not at all. And the world would be improved if warm and friendly chats like this became the norm. If frankness weren't so grossly underrated, human blindness could be eradicated. It's up to you. Just tell me where and when we can express our radiant love again and frankly share what news reports we've heard, you of me and I of you, each thrilling word.
Oh, madam, I'll hear nothing of you. It's me they rip to shreds and trample gleefully.
Madam, I think all things in life may be named, both good and bad, and are either praised or blamed according to our ages. Coquetry appeals to youth. Others choose prudery. And it makes perfect tactical good sense to take that side once one's youth has fled hence. It serves to veil the horror of decay. I may well myself take that road someday. Time does march on. But even you must see 20 is not the age for prudery.
You know, it's sad to see you grasp at straws this way. You seem to think you have some cause to hector me. We're not so different in age, you know, and why you're so intent on goading me and acting so supreme is a thing that baffles me in the extreme.
And I, for my part, madam, I can't see why you vent your bile everywhere on me. Must you lash out at me all over town? Is it my fault if men don't chase you down? If I inspire some love in certain men, and they offer me again and again vows you're hungry to deprive me of, whose fault is that? The field's open, take their love. Go on, please, do your worst. There's no law whereby you can't parade your charms to catch their eye.
Oh, please. Do you think we envy you that crowd of panting dogs that makes you crow so loud? Or that the world looks on unconscious of just what girls give these days to earn such love? Or that we think it's your enormous store of merit they stampede back drooling for? Or that it's honest sentiment they're feeling? Or that it's your virtue they find so appealing? The world's not nearly quite so blind as you may think. We're not your dupes. There are girls who inspire tenderness, whose steps, I fear, aren't dogged by men, a fact which makes most clear that to be loved these days, girls must allot men certain gifts. And when men woo, it's not our misty eyes, but something somewhat more adventuresome whose depths they want to explore. So don't bloat yourself up. You overrate your little victories. Madam, deflate. And try to curb that ugly pride you've got, whereby you feel you're special, which you're not. If we envied the small conquests you so flaunt, we could have all the lovers we might want down in the gutter, and we'd soon demonstrate that men flock to a certain kind of bait.
That would be fun to witness, madam, do. Let's see how many men would flock to you. Oh,
it's time to end this conversation. It might well lead two friends to an altercation. And I've been long gone, but have had to wait because my stupid driver's always late.
You're more than welcome, madam, to remain as long as you like. You're not the least strain. But knowing how soon people tire of me, I'll go and find you better company and... Oh, look, what's arriving now? A face you much prefer to mind in any case. Assessed. I must dash off a line or two which aren't just late. They're desperately overdue. Stay here with madam, she's kind. I'm sure that she will pardon me the incivility.
Isn't that nice? Well, sir, My driver's late. Our hostess leaves me here with you. That's fate. Leaving us here is the best thing she's ever done. I'm most pleased. Charming. Here we are. What fun. You know, people like you have the effect on others of inspiring deep respect. And somehow you possess the secret art to keep your interests foremost in my heart. I wish people at court could be made to appraise your merits rightly as I do. You have cause for complaint. I just can't bear the way you go unnoticed. It's unfair.
Me, madam? What should I be noticed for? What have I done for the court? What distant shore was claimed by me of late? What have I done? Is there some war that in my sleep I've won?
Not everyone who's in the royal favor is really such a brilliant nation saver. They're just in the right place at the right time. And a man like you, whose merits are sublime, or...
Oh my God, does the poor king have to bear it on himself to dredge up my supposed merit? You ask much to expect him to unearth each last small lingering shred of human worth.
Great merits such as yours unearth themselves and can be seen by anyone who delves beneath the surface. Why, just the other day I heard you praised by men who hold much sway.
Praise. Madam, our sick time's driven to confound itself by strewing worthless praise around. Who'd want to be praiseworthy when we shower praise on some new thing every quarter hour? We're choking, gagging on praise, and any day the world will kneel and worship my valet.
Who knows? We may yet cure this cynicism. A royal grant might end such pessimism. A certain look by you in certain eyes could well make certain boons materialize. Were I to start it, there's machinery that could make your life's voyage trouble-free.
Fine. Levers move. I'm at court. What then, pray? My ship sails patiently the other way. You know me. Are you trying to cut short my life? I wouldn't last one day at court. I don't possess the virtues necessary. I'm insufficiently contemporary. I don't know how to play men deviously. My skills lean more towards frank sincerity. And such pilots, if they hold their own views dear, when a court looms up in view, had best steer clear. Indeed, one thereby gives up glorious titles, wealth, rank, prestige, fame, countertenor recitals. But with those free boons, one gives up as well the need to make one's life a grinning hell. One needn't bear attack from some cruel foe, nor praise the wretched verse of so-and-so, nor rub cheeks with diminutive marquise, nor entertain one's friends' coquetries.
Let's drop the court. But, sir, the company your pure heart seeks out earns you my sympathy. And, well, sir, I'll just say what I have to say. Your situation floods me with dismay. I'm sure you could find someone else who'd love you. That girl who's charmed you isn't worthy of you.
Madam, I'm shocked that did you quite intend a statement so severe? She's your dear friend.
Oh, indeed. But in good conscience, I can't see you wronged much longer. It's pure agony. I hate to see you unloved and forsaken. And if you think you're not, sir, you're mistaken.
Madam, I thank you. Such talks of a kind that will ensure a lover's peace of mind.
Yes, there were friends. I say, sir, she's a tart who's totally beneath your noble heart, and that her heart were its putrid black pit shown.
Indeed, others' hearts can't ever quite be known. But charity, I think, would more incline to keep these doubts in your head, not in mine.
Oh, if you choose to grope on in blindness, sir, I'll gladly hold my peace. If you prefer.
No, but such doubts make one's heart superbly feel what it's like to be broken on the wheel. And my heart isn't eager to be racked by doubts that don't rest on some clear, hard fact.
Then say no more. I'll gladly play the part of lighting up this, your dark night of the heart. I want your every eye to sound the alarm. And now, sir, if you'll kindly take my arm and show me home, your doubting eyes will see how much that creature wrongs you shamelessly. And who knows? If you're not blind, sir, your eyes may fall upon some consolation prize.
Madam, you won't believe the strain involved in getting his insane dispute resolved. We tried persuasive ploys of every kind. No amount of sane advice would change his mind. We talked for hours, in vain. He wouldn't budge. He wouldn't even twitch. I'm sure the judge never heard a case quite so bizarre, or a matter so inane go quite so far. I won't recant, he said. The man writes badly. Whatever else you want, I'll swear to gladly. What's the offense? Does it do his honor harm that his writings patently devoid of charm? What does he care what I think? One can be a worthy man and write bad poetry. These things are separate. Sirs, I'll gladly say he's excellent in every other way. He's well-born, brave, well-mannered, wealthy, gallant, and utterly bereft of writing talent. I'll gladly praise his noble gait, his wealth, his swordsmanship, his dancing jewels, hats, health. But as for his verse, sirs, I beg his leave. And if one has the sad fate to achieve the depth of poetry which he attains, one should rightly expect to be hanged for one's pains. At last, with great strain, he made a concession. He said, and he seemed under the impression that he was offering a most lenient result. I detest myself for being so difficult, and out of love for you, I wish I could have found your attempted sonnet to be good. And then they embraced each other, and at last the case was closed, and we all departed fast.
His manner is blunt. He's not delicate. But I find him refreshing, I admit. And though he flares out strangely, still, for me, there's something noble in his honesty. That virtue's rare. And if the world inclined a little more his way, I wouldn't mind.
For me, I'm only shocked by the extent of his heart's sudden wild abandonment. It's not like him at all. Is someone feeding him potions? What books has his heart been reading? And stranger still, what arcane inner voice has made your cousin his weird heart's weirder choice?
Which shows it's not compatibility that moves our hearts to love, but poetry. And all those things you've heard, that hearts are moved to love by kindred feelings, are disproved.
Love. Well, yes, he loves. But does she as well?
That's something it's impossible to tell. If by some mystic process we could show her very heart itself, it wouldn't know. Sometimes it thinks it loves, but doesn't love, or has real love it isn't conscious of.
I think the ardent passion of our friend will not come to a very pretty end. And if my heart were beating in his breast, he'd soon embark on quite another quest. I mean you, madam. And he'd realize how lucky he is to have turned your eyes.
In this regard, I make no secret of my feelings. Good faith ought to reign in love. If he tests my heart, he won't find it cold. In fact, I'd love him back 100-fold. If I could, if it lay in my control, I'd help his heart attain its present goal. But if by some unhappy circumstance this love ends badly for him, if by chance some rival suit is crowned the champion, if he should turn my way, I wouldn't run. And though his heart had failed in its first quest, I'd gladly take it and count myself blessed.
And likewise, madam, I'm not, for my part, opposed to seeing your pure, sweet, honest heart attain its goal. Just ask Alceste. He'll say how strongly I plead your cause every day. But if the marriage not should join these two, such that you can't receive his vows, I'd do my all to earn the grace and tenderness your pure hearts shown towards him. And I'd assess my life to have been worthwhile if I could pray that, losing him, your soul might glance my way.
You're just saying that, Philip.
No, madame. I'm bearing my soul. And I pray for the time when I can give my heart somewhat more scope. And all my dreams are focused on that hope.
Oh, madam, help me to redress a vile, rank treason, which has robbed me of every shred of reason.
What's happened? Tell me, what's brought on this state?
Oh, a thing it's fatal just to contemplate. Oh, if earth and sky change places and every tree were a brilliant star and chaos reigned, that'd be less devastating. Love, what? I can't speak.
My friend, please try to tell me, what could wreck?
Oh, just creator, what misguided chef would swirl so much vice and such grace in the same sweet girl?
But still, I'm not sure.
Oh, my whole life's been desecrated. I'm betrayed, ruined, lost, assassinated. It's Seligman, my prize. Who could foretell the faithlessness in that infidel?
Do you have proof that what you say is true?
Now, slow down. It may be that you misconstrue, and often baseless jealousies can prod.
Oh, why don't you mind your business, sir? My God. Oh, madam, I don't think we need more evidence than this. She wrote, this plague, this pestilence. Oh, a letter for Orant, a man whose name piles my life with despair and hers with shame. Orant, who of my rivals worried me least, that little sonneteer, that small artiste.
But really, proceed with some more discretion. Letters often impart the wrong impression.
Sir, once again, I'm warning you, beware, mind your own business. Stay out of my hair.
At least try to calm your feverish soul and to...
Madam, that's something only you can do. Yes, madam, this fire will roast my soul unless you cure me of it with your tenderness. Avenge the wrong that, relative to yours, has done me with your shameless overtures. A crime of pure heart lives in horror of.
Avenge you? How?
By taking all my love. Replace that ingrate madam in your heart. Accept my tenderest love. I'd like to start as soon as possible to punish her by all the fond vows I will now transfer to you, madam. Let her pay the awesome price of just seeing how much I can sacrifice.
I sympathize, you know, sir, with your pain. And your heart's love, something I don't disdain. But what if it turns out my cousin's crime is not so bad? That happens all the time. The perpetrator often can disarm such righteous rage if she's someone with charm. And despite the most persuasive evidence, attractiveness is a foolproof defense. These lovers' quarrels never seem to last. They're thunderously loud, but blow over fast.
No, madam, no. My life's been massacred. There's no going back. The very thought's absurd. That's it. Who speaks of her the least approvingly, I'll whip that man bloody, even if it's me. Oh, here she is. I'm furious. God, well, when she gets here, I'll spell her crime out for her loud and clear. Confound her with it. And presently, you then, with a heart that's wholly free of her. Amen. Oh, God. Can I control this boiling passion?
Whoa. What's the trouble, sir? I look so ashamed. And why this stance of such heroic dejection? And why these dramatic looks in my direction?
Because all mankind, sins, butcheries, vice, and slime, all rolled together, couldn't match your crime. The powers of hell were scared themselves to brew a thing so base and sinister as you.
You're quite in a romantic mood, I gather.
Oh, don't make stupid jokes. You should blush, rather. You've every reason to. I won't be swayed by your paltry wit. I know I've been betrayed. My agonizing soul was merely trying to tell me something, and it wasn't lying. The torturous doubts with which my soul was wound led me to seek the truth, and truth I found. And though you'll feign well and manage to dissemble, my star shone out the truth. You make me tremble. This outrage calls for vengeance, madam. Don't imagine I'll forgo revenge. I won't. I know the heart's a thing one can't control, that love springs up unasked for in one's soul, that no one's heart can be forced to enthuse, and we're all free to love whom we may choose, with the result you have heard nothing from me if you had merely spoken honestly. If you'd rejected me from the first day, I would have blamed cruel fate and walked away. But to use false vows to lure me into trusting, that's treason. It's an outrage. It's disgusting. No punishment too great can be applied, and anything I do is justified. Pierced by this mortal blow, assassinated, my passion rules, my mind's disintegrated. Yes, yes, madam, fear the worst. If we collide, I'm not myself. I'm rage personified. I feel myself giving in. I'm warning you, and not accountable for what I may do.
Upon what strange drugs, good sir, have you dined? Is it the case that you've quite lost your mind?
Yes, I lost my mind, snake, when first my eyes drank in the venom you metabolize. And though some small crumb of sincerity dwelled in those sirens' charms that shipwrecked me.
But what crimes brought on this deluge?
Oh, how the heart's adept at subterfuge. But we'll put an end to that. You hadn't planned on seeing this. Recognize the hand? It's somewhat more difficult to scuttle. You are confounded. This bears no rebuttal.
Is this then, sir, the source of your malaise?
You manage not to blush at what it says?
And why should such a thing fill me with shame?
A liar and brazen too. You dare to claim, since it's unsigned, you didn't write this note?
But why disclaim a letter that I wrote?
And you gaze on this piece of prose, whose style accuses you of every crime and smile.
You're a big ninny, sir, big, no immense.
What still, despite of damning evidence, you claim these sweet words to orant from you don't shame you and offend me? Yes, they do.
Who said it was for orant? I'd like to know.
The party who obtained it. Let's say, though, these charming words were meant to entertain another man's eyes. I shouldn't then complain? No guilt's implied in that scenario?
But if it were written to a woman, though, what harm's in it? And how does it offend you?
Well parried, madam. I commend you. A lovely detour, madam, well evaded. I find myself entirely persuaded. Do you dare to stoop to such a gross and stupid ploys? The world's not as dense as that. We're not your toys. Oh, please, explain the point of view whereby you can maintain such a transparent lie, and how you hope to make me apprehend these passionate lines as meant for some school friend. Madam, please indulge my somewhat doubting spirit. I'll read a sentence or...
I don't wish to bear it. Are you the king? What gives you the permission to try me, sir? Is this the Inquisition?
No, please. Just show me how I may construe these words as harmless. Go on, madam, go.
No, I will not. As far as I'm concerned, think what you like. The court is now adjourned.
Oh, no, don't, please. If these words can't be applied to a friend, show me. If these words can be applied to a friend, show me how. I'll be satisfied.
No, it was for orant. You were quite right. He's the one man I dream of every night. I love his clothes, his face, his legs, his wit. Whatever you say, I agree with it. There. Mount your steed. Go on, charge. It's been said. Kill me. Fine, just stop pounding my poor head.
Oh, just heaven. Why have you made so cruel a thing? And must a soul endure this pummeling? What, I came here to make an accusation. Now I'm the one who's showered with indignation. She tells me my suspicions are correct. In fact, she glories in all that I suspect. And yet, still, I'm a worm. My heart can't seem to break these chains. I've no self-esteem. My heart's incapable of enmity towards that gross ingrate who so pleases me. Oh, how deftly you know how, you traitor you, to exploit the weakness my heart's given to serve your interests and to capitalize on the fatal love born with your faithless eyes. Defend yourself. Show me by what remote construction these wild phrases can denote some giddy, sisterly, girlish ebullience. I'll even help you to twist them to that sense. Just try to act faithful. That you can achieve. Just force yourself, and I'll force myself to believe.
You're too silly. Don't these jealous scenes make you tired? You don't deserve all the love you've inspired. Act faithful? Tell me what gross expediency could make me stoop to such vulgar fakery. And if you left my heart cold, why I merely wouldn't tell you so much frankly and sincerely? Really? Do your suspicions hold more sway than all the tender words you've heard me say? It's an outrage. Aren't my words a guarantee? Whom do you trust, your stupid doubts or me? When a lady's heart makes the extreme confession that it loves, does it seem to you, given how much female modesty opposes such vows, that when a man can see a girl's heart scaling such every obstacle for him, you ought to doubt such an oracle? And shouldn't he be ashamed if he must doubt words a lady battles hard not to let out? I should be furious, but females' hearts do such. Oh, I don't know why I like you so much. But I'm stupid. I hate myself, but it's true. My heart holds nothing but tenderness for you. I look elsewhere for love if I were sane, and give your heart some real cause to complain.
Oh, traitor, my weakness for you is absurd. I know you're deceiving me with every word. Oh, but so what? I must follow cruel fate. My soul is yours, madam, to eviscerate. I'd like to see that proud heart's inmost core, and if it's black enough to wrong me, more.
You don't love me as you should. You seem intent.
I disagree. My love is excellent. Indeed, my heart loves you so much, I pray I could take all your happiness away. I wish you lived alone in drudgery, prey to destitution and catastrophe, and that from birth disastrous, dreadful forces left you with no rank, no title, no resources, so that my benevolence could vindicate the hardship and injustice of your fate and earn the priceless, glorious chance to see your life's every small thread dependent on me.
Indeed, that's quite a noble rescue mission. I think the stars you're not in a position, but here's our friend Dubois. Look, interesting.
Pray, what is the point of this strange posturing? Are you sick? What's wrong?
Sir.
Well?
The world's gone mad.
Now, what is it?
Things are very bad.
What?
Dare I speak?
Yes, speak, and promptly, too.
Are you sure there's nobody?
Oh, what's wrong with you? Will you speak?
Sir, it's time to disappear.
What?
Sir, we should be somewhere else, not here.
Why?
Sir, we have to leave, and on the sly.
Why?
We must go now. No time to say goodbye.
And what's the reason for your saying so?
Because we have to pack your bags and go.
Oh, I'll break your slimy neck to smithereens if you don't tell me, worm, what this babble means.
Sir, a man in a black suit and not nice at all barged right into our house, not just in the hall, but all the way into the kitchen to deliver a page scrawled with ink. It made me shiver. It's about your lawsuit, I'm sure, but what it may spell, the devil and all his demons couldn't tell.
Yes, so, well, what does this page have to do with the flight you wrote you were referring to?
Oh, that was just the first part, sir. There's more. Later, a man who's come to see us before, he's very nice, rushed in and finding me, not you, but knowing I served you wonderfully, an hour, I think, after the first man came, begged me to tell you, well, now, what was his name?
Oh, forget the name, you insect. What did he say?
He's a friend of yours. Tall, blonde, nice. Anyway, he speaks mighty fast. But the gist, I recollect, was arrested. Jail, prison, words to that effect.
That's all he said? I feel sure there must be more.
That's all, except one thing. He did ask for a pen and shook the table, chiseling a note. I'm sure it will clear up everything.
Well, the note, termite.
What can this be about?
I don't know, but I intend to soon find out. Are you done yet, you little mangy gnome?
Sir, I know. I left it at home.
I don't know what keeps me from just taking
Don't lose your head. You'd best go sort this business out instead.
Oh, it seems that fate, however much I try, has sworn to keep us from talking, you and I. But I'll beat fate. I'll go, but madam, I'll run right back. We'll talk before the day is done. Oh, I'm telling you, my mind's made up. That's it.
But whatever's happened, don't you think it's a bit...
No! None of your brilliant words will change what I firmly intend to do. Don't even try. Perversity reigns. The world's one huge disgrace. I intend to break off all commerce with the race. My God, my adversary's twisted cause is opposed by honor, dignity, by all the laws. I'm in the right. The wide world's eyes agree, and my inmost soul proclaims it patently. But the human sphere is such a twisted place. I'm right. The worlds agree. I lose my case. Oh, we're not men. We're sharks. Can't you see the fins circling around? The fastest snapper wins. He tears my throat out, and the world looks on. We see his bloody teeth grin on in victory. Patently false grimaces of his float all virtue and turn honor inside out. Oh, he manages to get to the court to find in his favor, and as if I weren't maligned enough by that, he's begun the circulation of a book. Oh, a book. It's an impious abomination whose every word's horrific. And he's brash enough to say, I wrote the piece of trash. Oh, an idea Orant found fitting to his humor. And now he's whispering the filthy rumor. Oh, Orant, that brilliant worthy cavalier, so loved at court. My God, I was just sincere. He came and forced me, much against my will, to rate the meager scratchings of his quill. And because I told him frankly, honestly, betraying neither him nor sincerity, he's suddenly my greatest adversary. And now he'll never pardon me the crime of not having found his little poem sublime. That's mankind for you. This is the apogee of what our glorious race aspires to be. Gaze there and see the nobility of mind, good faith, and honor to be found in mankind. Oh, please, they are wolves, boars, cutthroats, lurking for prey behind the briars. And yet we stay and stay. Go on, men, rip each other's throats out. You'll see, I'll deprive you of my company.
I don't think these things require self-quarantine. You haven't been arrested that I've seen. His mad, wild slander's not believed. It's far too outrageous. You make things worse than they are. This lie could earn him powerful enemies. This might well be the last of his treacheries.
Him? No, he thrives on just such gross offenses. He has immunity from consequences. No, this won't bring him low. Tomorrow this liar will have gnawed and grinned his way yet one rung higher.
Well, be that as it may, it's no less true. Very few believe the things he said of you. There's really nothing to fear in that domain. As for your case, you've cause to complain, but that can be appealed. You just request a second hearing, and the judge...
Oh, let it rest. The ruling's wrong, unjust, despicable, but let it stand. I find it beautiful. It speaks our age's filth so eloquently. Let it shine on for all posterity as an eternal flame, a monument to men of our time and all they represent. I lost 20,000 francs to that parasite, but those 20,000 francs buy me the right to rage against humanity and to flaunt my deadly hatred anytime I want.
But really,
what could you say to change the way I feel in any way? You aren't going to dare to claim to my face these things aren't anything less than a disgrace.
No, I agree with everything you said. The world is corrupt. Men are self-interested. These days, deceit's the surest way to succeed. The world's disgusting. Fine, yes, true, agreed. But because man was created imperfectly, is that cause to shun all society? If goodness reigned, what chance? The chance would never rise to give our philosophy some exercise. That's why virtue exists. If everywhere we looked, we saw mankind sincere, fair, just, peace-loving, if such things were ordinary, most virtues would become unnecessary. For they teach us to bear with equanimity the wrongs the world hurls our way constantly. And virtue's such a thing that when it reaches...
I know, sir, you're the prince of pithy speeches. Your mind abounds with cogent distillations, but you're wasting breath, sir, on these fine orations. Reason tells me to leave for my own good. I can't control my tongue. In all likelihood, I'll soon say something else prohibited and bring God knows what woes down on my head. Leave me in peace to wait for Selimene. She must consent to this. Yes, this is when I'll finally learn if she knows how to love and clear up some things I've lived uncertain of.
Well, while we wait, let's go see Eliant.
Yes, go yourself and see her if you want. My heart's too sick. Leave. Let me sink down again to this bleak, dark corner with my black chagrin.
You choose to wait in rather strange company. I'll bring Eliant back down here presently.
My offer, madam, stands. The choice is yours. Either take or leave my tender overtures. A lover's heart needs some more firm assurance. Your indecisiveness strains my endurance. If my ardors moved your heart to hold me dear, you shouldn't hesitate to make it clear. The one thing I ask, but it's absolute, is not to let Alceste keep pressing his suit, to sacrifice him, madam, to my passion, and to banish him in no uncertain fashion.
And why should he inspire such an angry whim? You've always praised the man, you worship him.
I'll thank you, madam, to leave that point apart. The matter at hand's the feelings in your heart. Choose, madam, him or me. One word from you will tell my heart exactly what it must do.
The gentleman is right, madam. You must choose. I'm entirely in accordance with his views. Concern and ardor have all my sympathy. What my heart needs from yours is certainty. These things you've dragged to gruesome death already. It's time to speak your heart. Go on. We're ready.
I've no wish sir, to press obtrusively a suit to mar your happy destiny.
I've no wish, jealous or not jealous, sir, to share with you the tiniest thread of her.
If your love strikes the girl as preferable.
She finds you any less than abominable.
I say my suit will end precisely then.
I swear to heaven I'll never see her again.
There, madam, you can speak quite openly.
Speak, madam. You've nothing at all to fear from me.
Speak one name, madam. The rest we can deduce.
Just choose one man and hack the other loose.
What? Is this a thing you're still unsure about?
What, have you any lingering shred of doubt?
Great God. I'm sure this is unprecedented. The way you act, I think you're both demented. I know quite well towards which side my love leans. My heart is not unsure by any means. It's not torn in the least, it's not in doubt. Love something's easy to be sure about, but honestly, I'm really suffering at the thought of just proclaiming such a thing. I believe that words of such indelicacy should not be spoken quite so publicly, that hearts give certain rather clear indications without inflicting needless flagellations, and that a lover should seek subtler signs to learn if his love's failed in its designs.
No, madam, speak. I'm sure I can withstand it. For my part, I consent.
And I demand it. Indeed, I insist you speak explosively. I'll tolerate no more diplomacy. Ensnaring all the world, something you've made a studied art form of. The masquerade is over, madam. Now explain your heart. Or if you refuse, I'll know, at least for my part, how your silence ought to be interpreted, and will deem all my worst thoughts to what have been said.
That's excellent, sir. You're bold. You state your claim. And every word you've said, I say the same.
You know, this game of yours begins to wear. Do you think your asking is just or fair? I've given my reasons. What more do you want? Ah, here, we'll put the case to Eliant. My cousin. These friends suffer mental destitution. They're after me. It's downright persecution. They founded some bizarre conspiracy to force me to choose between them publicly and to tell one of them, face to face, that he's forbidden to expend his courtesies. Tell me, is this the way these things are done?
I don't know if I'm really quite the one you should be asking. I'm somewhat inclined to rather favor those who speak their mind.
It's useless, madam. No one will be swayed.
This is something all your detours can't evade.
Speak, madam. It's already long overdue.
Just go on saying nothing. That's clear too.
A single word from you is all I demand.
And I, if you say nothing, I'll understand.
Madam, I don't want to inconvenience you. There's a trifling matter we've come in reference to.
Lucky you're here, sirs. What we have to tell is a thing that you two are mixed up in as well.
Madam, you're surprised to see me, but these men are the reason I've come back so soon again. They came to me complaining pitifully of... Madam, well, such things just couldn't be. I respect you far too much to entertain the notion that you do something so profane. My eyes refused to believe the evidence, and, well, overlooking our little difference, I said I'd follow them here, madam, eagerly, to see you cleanse yourself of this calumny.
Yes, madam. Let's see how deftly you'll defend yourself when you see this, I believe you penned. This letter to Clatande. Still calm, are you?
And you wrote accost this lovely billet doux.
I'm sure you recognize the writing, sir. I'd be surprised if scampering messengers had not made you familiar with the style. I'll read this, sirs. I think you'll find it worthwhile. You're a strange man, sir, to condemn my frivolousness and to hold the insane belief I'm never so happy as when you're far away. Nothing could be less true or more unjust. And if you don't come beg my forgiveness immediately, I'll never forgive you as long as I live. That spindly Viscount, amazing, this. That spindly Viscount, who seems to be your greatest complaint, is a man I couldn't find less attractive, and ever since I saw him for a full 3/4 of an hour spitting down a well to watch the lovely rings he made, I've never felt quite the same about them. As for that small Marquis, that's me, gentlemen, in all modesty. As for that small Marquis who always takes me by the hand for hours, I find nothing so thin and substanceless as his whole being. There's a little to his veneer and little less behind it. As for the man with the green ribbons, it's your turn now, sir. As for the man with the green ribbons, I used to be amused sometimes by his frantic outbursts and forced surliness, but countless times he makes me want to scream. And as for that sonatizing creature, oh, here's your parcel. As for that sonatizing creature who's thrown his lot with history's great wits and who wants to be a writer despite the world, I can barely bring myself to listen to him, and his prose is even more wearing than his verse. So kindly understand, I'm not always having nearly so much fun as you imagine, that I miss you rather than more than I wish I did. At all the parties people drag me to, and that of all life's pleasures one may taste, the crowning seasoning is the presence of those we love.
And now for me, your Cletendre, about to complain, and who seems to think himself so honey-tongued lately, is the last of all men I could ever have feelings for. He's quite out of his mind to think he's loved, and you are too to think you are not. To set things right, you two should exchange opinions. And I beg you to come and see me all you can to spare me the agony of his visits. A noble character is here proclaimed Madame. I think you know how it's usually named. Enough said. We'll go make the world acquainted with the glorious heart that here is so deftly painted.
I say certain things. I no doubt have the right, but I don't deem you worthy of a fight. This small Marquis, madam, you won't see require long to win hearts whose value is much higher.
What? You tore me to shreds. Can it be true? And after all the sweet letters I've received from you, and your heart, dressed up in love's garb, now I learn adores the human race, each man in turn. That's it. I've been too trusting, but no more. You've given me much by showing your true core. My profit is my heart, which I now have back, and my vengeance, I now have what you now lack. Sir, I no longer wish to stand in your way. Carry on. The girl is yours. You've won the day.
Madam, I've never... What you've done is sickening. I can't keep quiet. My whole soul's shuddering. The basest crimes gush freely from your pen. I don't really care about those other men, but this gentleman, whose honesty and merit you were lucky to earn, madam, I just can't bear it. A heart that worshipped you, whose intimacies would make other girls thank
Madam, I beg you, please, let me tend to my interests in this matter and spare yourself this doubtless tiring chatter. It's noble of you to mount your zealous attack, but I don't see how I'll ever pay you back. Should my vengeance seek some substitute to woo, I assure you, madam, it would not be you.
Do you think that crossed my mind, that I adore you and that the world crawls through life desperate for you? Try to curb somewhat the error of vanity into which you've fallen through gross self-flattery. And madam's old discarded merchandise is something, sir, that rather fails to entice. So calm yourself, sir, and come down several pegs. Girls of my kind don't seek love in the dregs. For what you want, I'm sure that girl will serve. She's just the kind of woman you deserve.
Well, you've heard nothing from me, madam, till now. I've let all the others speak. Would you allow I've shown enough self-control? May I now call attention to my...
Yes, go on, say it all. You've every right to. I've earned your contempt. Go unpunished me. I won't try to preempt your anger with pointless pleas of guiltlessness. I'm in the wrong entirely, I confess. I scorn the others' righteous hypocrisy. But in your case, I deserve blame. I agree. What I've done was wrong. I know you've ample reason to think me guilty of, I'll say it, treason. I know, I'm not expecting leniency. I wouldn't blame if you hated me. In fact, go on, hate me.
Can I? Can I suppress, you traitor, all my wretched tenderness? I wish I could. Don't think I haven't tried. But can I find one obedient heart inside? You see before you the depths of wretchedness to which a lover will stoop under duress. It may amaze you, but that isn't all. I'll show you just how low a man can crawl and prove those wrong who praise our soul's acumen and show that in our hearts, we're merely human. I'll gladly, malefactress, swallow whole all that you've done. I'll achieve what sleight of soul. And I'll disguise your heinous, glaring crimes as an error of youth corrupted by sick times, provided you give your heart's full consent to my design, my hard, fast intent, to flee all men and follow me to a place I've chosen far from our disgusting race. That's the only reparation I will deem to offset your little letter-writing scheme, which my soul finds abhorrent, and I'll then permit myself to love you once again.
Me? How can I consent to being flung into the tomb alive? I'm much too young.
Well, if you'll finally pledge your heart to me, why do you need so much society? You'll have me, Célimène. Won't that be plenty?
But loneliness is frightening at 20. My soul isn't big or strong enough to withstand such a fate as your great, noble soul has planned. If my hand were sufficient to fulfill your desires, well, I think I could bend my will to such vows.
No, my heart cannot tolerate this last refusal to share my fate. The rest was nothing to me, but I see the world in you. You don't see the world in me. Go, that's enough. This last affront may do what nothing else did. Free my soul from you. Madam, you are not only beautiful, but sincere. Each day I know your good traits appear, for I long admired you. But madam, please allow me to go on feeling just as I do now. And please permit my extremely troubled heart to spare you the distress it would impart to you were I to love you. I suspect I wasn't born to love. It's not correct for a heart like mine to inflict discomfortures, and already scorned by a heart worth less than yours, I feel...
Don't worry, sir, that if you can't offer me your love, I'll be alone. The Lent, from what he's told me, is equal to the task of taking me. That is, if I should ask.
Oh, madam, that's the one thing I want from life. I'd spill my own blood to make you my wife.
May you both know unending happiness and love forever. Meanwhile, my distress, such as it is, betrayed by all, I and my pain will flee this void where countless vices reign, and seek out one place on earth where man is free to live a life of honest decency.
Come, madam, let's use every means we can to dissuade his broken heart from its wild plan.
End of play. Yay. Thank you, everyone. Yay. That was really fun.
Love a good cat fight. That was great.
Yeah.
And special thanks for the Basque Alceste scene. That was like Abbott and Costello.
Really, really nice. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Paul, how did you like it?
I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Great job, everyone. Thank you so much. And who was the translation by? Because I think that was...
Angus told. I forget.
It was delightful. I remember the old Richard Wilbur one we all studied in high school. I like this one better.
Yeah, it is this was a treat to be able to read.
Some delicious little moments.
Yeah. And this is the first time we've been able to read a Molière in verse, and it was really fun.
And Paul, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
We should do this. I just watching. This is having everybody with the same background really changes the dynamic. It's nice.
It does.
Yeah,
I agree.
We've been doing that.
Sorry about not joining in there. For whatever reason, my computer doesn't support it.
Yeah.
My computer doesn't either. I have to use my phone.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
My Mac is too old.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on an old Mac as well.
Yeah. The old Macs don't do it, so it's not you. You have to get a green screen if you want to use it on an old Mac, which is its own thing.
How old is your old Mac?
Yeah, I'm in a hotel room, so no.
2013.
Okay.
Yeah, that's ancient in computer
terms. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
Oh, Asher sent a comment. Asher Suswin. Thank you, audience. He says, I think the true misanthrope is actually the playwright.
I was just going to say,
you're right about that.
I did a full production of the Misanthrope years ago, and we kept the verse, but we set it in a high school, like Mean Girls style, and it was really fun.
Mean Girls.
There's definitely at least one mean girl.
Yeah.
That reminded me of is it Gwendolyn and Cecily and
yeah, and for to being earnest. I was thinking of that too.
The most polite cat fight ever.
Yeah. Let me tell you.
Cake is not served in the best houses. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that was nice and quick. I have to go, guys, but thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
The next
Thank
one.
you, Ben, for joining us. Great.